to the What You Don't Know podcast, brought to you by the Know Like Trust Report, which is a simple, actionable survey that asks the most important questions. I'm Teresa Nichols, and I am honored to have as our guest today comedian Michael Jackson. So today, this is going to be a really fun episode because we are going to incorporate humor into feedback. And such a cool idea because sometimes feedback can be tough. So if you can give feedback and include humor in it, that just makes so much sense to me. So let's start this off. So Michael, what I'd like you to do first is really quickly share with us something that would help us get to know you and like you and trust you.
Let's see. Know me, like me, trust me. Let's see. I'm a preacher's kid. I'm crazy and silly.
Yeah.
And what can you do with somebody that has just a great smile? You can
Yeah.
trust me.
You can trust them. Nice. I like that. I think you covered all of it. That's awesome. How long have you been a comedian?
9 long years. But fun. But fun. 9 long years. And it's been fun. It's challenging. It is one of those things where you have to draw people into your world, and you have to be able to paint imagery for people who didn't maybe culturally grow up like you, and you have to make it relatable and funny. So yeah, so 9 years going on 10, coming up in March of 2025.
Okay. Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So, how does the idea of know, like, and trust play into your career as a comedian?
Well, first off, people have to, as comedians, people have to feel like they know you. Like they have to have something in common with you. A lot of times, a lot of my bookings will come from, other people say, hey, yo, I know him. I know Mike. Mike's funny and this and that. They may not, trust me or like me, but that individual, they like and trust them. So a lot of times I'm able to get in, and then as they get to, know me, then they're like, I like him. And then they find out I'm just a crazy fun guy that can just sit there and make people laugh. And now they feel like they know me. So they know me, they like me, and after that, they trust me. Relationships, when it comes to comedy and people that really don't know you, like people can say my name and they'll be like, yeah, this comedian Michael Jackson, he's out. And they'll be like, I've heard of him, but you know, I don't know him. But because there is I guess, an intercessor there that'll say, oh no, you're gonna like him, and I trust him. So it helps me go in within, I guess, a blind advantage because someone has already kind of spoke on my behalf. So for me, that's how it works when people don't know who I am. So
Well, I heard two things there. One, I heard that you're getting referrals, and basically people are saying, you got to get Michael because he's great.
yeah,
So they're like, okay, well, I trust this person, so I'm going to
right.
take their word for it. And then the other thing that I'm hearing is, okay, so that to me is feedback. If you are getting a referral from somebody that has utilized your services, then that in itself is feedback,
Yeah,
so that's
that
really
is
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Word of mouth is really how a lot of things happen in comedy. If you've not been in front of a person, that referral, that critique, that it's almost like when if somebody says, "Hey, Teresa has this podcast, and I had a lot of fun on it." So guess what? Be like, if I would be like, "Hey, you got to get on Teresa's podcast. Like, it is dope," and they'll be like, "Well, I don't know her." Be like, "But I know her," and so that type of energy and excitement, that word of mouth, that is like the greatest feedback that you can get. And it's also ego stroking too. It's like, really, you like me that much that you'll tell somebody else about me? And it's like, I mean, we do that all the time. Like, your favorite restaurant. If you found a restaurant that they had really good food, and like, I mean, my wife is notorious for it. Like, she will give a promo to a good restaurant and not get paid for it. So, but
Right.
but that helps. And that word of mouth, that's how everybody gets to know either someone, someplace, or something. So yeah, that feedback is crazy. Even after a show, the feedback after a show, when somebody says, "Yo, I've never seen you perform, but you were hilarious, you were funny." And so for me now, I'm like, all right, I did a good job. So positive feedback, is always great. Sometimes negative feedback can also be good too. It doesn't have to come across as like negative, it could just be a critique, but we can learn from it. So I think all feedback is good. All feedback is good, whether it's bad or good.
Absolutely. Well, and I was going to ask about that. So when you first started, you went out without really knowing what somebody was going to laugh at, what they weren't going to laugh at. Talk a little bit about that, about kind of the evolution of your comedy, and because that's feedback, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if
yeah,
somebody
yeah,
doesn't laugh, if somebody does laugh, that's
yeah.
feedback.
That's feedback. Yeah.
Any stories that you have about that would be great. Just like how it evolved and what you learned throughout your time with just starting and now being in it for 9 years.
Well, so okay. Oh my God, I think I have like a million examples. Okay, so I did a show, and I've been blessed to where my comedy has spanned different cultures. So it's truly a blessing to be able to do comedy in front of everybody. But I will say I've had two instances where I told a and it's a joke that everybody remembers. I did it years ago, and I was in Cincinnati, and the crowd was mixed. I'm talking black, white, maybe a couple of Asian and Hispanic that were sprinkled in there because it was for a Christmas party. And so, when I do comedy and it's in front of a mixed crowd, I try to
Yeah,
hit everybody, because
yeah,
you got to be smart. You have to do research on different cultures. Like, you
yeah,
can't just get stuck in one element. Like, you want to show that you're educated. And I mean, I have 2 college degrees, so I want to show that I'm educated and I can make stuff funny about anything. So I wrote a joke, and it was, what was the Virgin Mary's favorite book in the Bible? Now,
ooh,
yeah. So, not knowing that most of the people in the audience were Catholic, I got some feedback about that joke. And
okay.
so when I gave them the answer, it was just like they looked at me and was like, and I was like, and so after the show, this lady, so nice, she was like, "You were funny." She said, "But the Mary joke," she said, "you do know that all of us are pretty much, we're Catholic." And I was like, "Oh, so you didn't find that too funny?" And she was like, "No, it was funny, but we just didn't know if we could laugh at it." And I was like, "Okay."
Oh,
I said, "Okay." And so from that point, I understood that, people they get real sensitive about religion
yeah,
and
yeah,
politics. And so that feedback helped me to understand that, yeah, hey, a lot of people, when it comes to religion and politics, they take that stuff very serious. I mean, they are die hard. Like, they,
yeah,
you know, and so what I did is I had to kind of revamp the joke to make it lighter. So it didn't seem so offensive. And so when I redid it again, I added just a different spin to it, and it was received by a group of people who were, because there are and a lot of people don't know this, but Catholicism spans different color barriers, and
Sure.
yeah, and so it's one of those things where when I revamped it, everybody laughed at the joke. And the course of it was I had to make a facial expression to actually let them know I'm not poking fun at your belief. I'm poking fun at the joke because it's just funny.
Yeah. I love that.
And that was, so for me, that feedback. So and so I'll tell you the joke. This
Yeah.
is, I'm gonna do it on my sister's show, Teresa
Let's
Nichols. I'm gonna do
yeah,
it on.
let's do it. I'm ready.
So, and this is how I tell the joke. So I do a
Okay.
couple of things where I do not like jokes and all of that, and people, they like it. It's hilarious. I do poke fun at religion sometimes, and I do poke fun at politics because I'm like, you got to laugh at things that are going on right now. And so
Yeah.
now, in this day and time, it's not being so, how can I say, people aren't being so oversensitive now
Yeah.
about things. So, and so so the joke is I ask people, I'm like, oh, hey, I'm a preacher's kid, I'm a PK, so I want to tell you all, I want to ask you all a biblical question. It's a joke, but it's a biblical question. And so I let them know, hey, I'm referencing the Bible, and it's in the Bible. Everything I'm telling you is in the Bible. And they say, okay. I said, are you ready for it? And they'll be like, yeah, we're ready for it. And so I'll say, so what was the Virgin Mary's favorite book in the Bible? And everybody will go, I'll hear some people say Job, some people say Romans, some people say Genesis, and I'll be like, no. And so I'll be like, it was First Peter. And so I'll do this, and I'll look at them, and then they'll be like, and they'll start laughing. Now they know I'm not poking fun at your religion. It's
Yeah.
just, it's and so when they think about it, they're like, First Peter, they was like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, that too, so just that type of feedback from the lady, it made it, I had to present it differently. So stuff like that. I mean, feedback is always good. And the thing is a lot of times people look at feedback as like you're doing this, you're poking, it's something, you're telling me I'm doing something wrong, I'm not right. And I'm like, no, a lot of times you're not gonna, nobody can be 100% right. It's just impossible as human. Yeah, nobody. Mr. Reed, I know women would like to be right 100% of the time, but most of the women are only right 99.9% of the time. There is that one small,
Okay, I guess.
yeah. So, but it is one of those things where being able to learn whether it's negative, because everybody sees things differently, and that's one thing that I've learned. Everybody sees things differently. Everybody comes from a different background, different upbringing. Environments are totally different. I'm always going to see things differently. I'm a preacher's kid, and my mom was a missionary. Yeah, I didn't get the world that everybody else got. Mine was always church, go home, school, church, go home, school, church, maybe play outside, church, be ready, so those are things that I've learned and understood, but being able to accept everybody for everything that they, I learned from everything.
Now, did you ever have church at home?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
there's that too, right? So you get home and
yeah.
there's more church.
Well, believe it or not, the church flooded with water, so they had to have it in the house. We live right next door to the church.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just like, I'm never gonna get rid of these people. Like that was all I knew. And it was mostly family though, I know, but most of my family, that's how we were raised culturally. You go to church every Sunday. You could be a sinner possibly Monday through Saturday, but you're going to church on Sunday.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that was it. So, but
So
yeah,
when I was I don't even remember how old I was. I started going to comedy when I lived in Dayton. I started going to the Funny Bone.
Hmm.
And I would even go by myself, like just it was like a cool place to go. It was like a dark room, but I could sit there
Yeah.
and laugh.
Yeah.
And it just was kind of a chill place to be. I didn't really have to think about anything. I just go and
Right.
sit in this dark room and laugh.
That's right.
And I remember the first time I saw one of these comedians that I would say, like, for lack of better terms, like rips on people, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just kind of picks a race or a religion, and then she would be like, wait, I miss you, I have to bash you too, like, and she's like, I don't want to miss anybody in the room, I gotta bash everybody. And let me tell you, I was raised Catholic. And
Right. Right.
what's really interesting of what you said, and I wrote it down, is that was a huge paradigm shift for me,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
where I had to realize that it was all in good fun,
Yeah. Yeah.
that you really shouldn't take it personal.
Yeah.
It was just, you're there to laugh, so laugh. It was not anything that anybody meant to take personal or anything like
Right.
that.
Right.
It's just comedy. It's just different. It's like you go there, get rid of all your other things you've got going on and just laugh.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it
That's
was a
good.
huge paradigm shift for me.
Yeah.
And interestingly, like one person, it's kind of funny. I'm going to talk about my mom. She takes everything so literally. We got a game about Hitler
Yeah.
and she couldn't play it. She was like, no, I'm not going to play this game. But being at that comedy show made me realize that you don't have to take everything serious.
Right.
But what's
Right.
crazy was I know that it's from my upbringing that I was like, oh, I can't believe you said that. Oh my
Right.
gosh.
Right.
Feedback in and of itself, to accept feedback,
Yeah.
you have to do that paradigm shift.
Yeah. Yeah. You
And
do.
that is such a cool thing for me. I wrote that down because it's so cool that when you are accepting feedback from someone, you have to not, oddly enough, you have to not take it so personal.
Personal. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
kind of open up to like, hey, this is feedback. Whether or not I use it, I'm going to benefit from it because it's
Right.
feedback. So thank you for that. That was so cool. That was
Uh,
like just a really cool thing that I just got out of that. So I so appreciate it. And the joke was great too. Thank you for sharing it. That was brilliant.
yeah. You know what? I had to do it. I'm on your show, so
I love it.
I
Oh,
can
it's
do it.
perfect. Thank you. I love it. Well, just really quickly, where else can people find you? Where else can they find your comedy? Do you have a YouTube channel or what? Where can people find you?
So my Instagram is Mike Jackson 0627, and my Facebook is just Mike Jackson. If you go to my Instagram, you'll actually find my Facebook
Okay.
handle there. Same thing with Twitter. So if anybody's in the Dayton, Ohio area, if when they go on my Instagram, they'll see the Laugh Zone House of Comedy. It just opened up. Yep, and it's on Siebenthaler, so 3493 Siebenthaler. It's a very intimate setting. Uh, yeah, so we once Wiley's closed down, Tony Sanders, who is the actual and owner of it, he opened up, and we've had some great comedy shows. So we've had Joe Torre. He's come and done a show. I've had the opportunity to work and clown with him. We've had Little Joe,
Yes.
or Joe Little, from the Rude Boys. We've also had a comedian by the name of Double D. He actually has been on BET Comic View quite a few times. He's done Shaquille O'Neal's DVD. He came through. I was blessed to actually. He's from Atlanta. Got had the opportunity to do some joke writing and things with him. We've had Mark Gregory. Mark Gregory is a really good friend of mine, and he is the legendary Dick Gregory's nephew. So me and him have been doing comedy together for. Actually, he was very avid in me actually doing a comedy, and he kind of mentored me and took me under his wing. So him, being with Bill Bellamy, Donnell Rollins, doing Dave Chappelle, he's actually helped myself and some other comedians, actually get to that forefront. So we've done the Funny Bones, the Wileys, also get private bookings. So we've got a lot of stuff coming up in 2025. Bring some big names. I'll also be hosting some stuff too with the Laugh Zone House of Comedy concert series. We'll be bringing some big R&B groups, and we'll be doing that in Dayton and Cincinnati.
Excited. I how long has Laugh Zone been there?
Literally only 3 months. three
Wow.
months.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm gonna be there. I'm getting a
yeah,
ticket. I'm gonna be there. I'm excited.
and
That sounds
yeah,
awesome.
and Wednesday nights are free. Wednesday nights are open mics, and they're free.
Okay. Deals. So I wanted to ask too, because you said you have these mentors,
Hmm.
what is feedback like between comedians? How does that work?
Okay, so how that worked, we kind of bounce off of each other. Like it's crazy. It's a bunch of comedians that people will see on TV, people will see in movies. Like I've worked with comedians that have actually been in actual movies. So, and I'm blessed to actually be able to call them and be like, "Yo, hey, I got this joke, but I have so Mark Gregory is like my first mentor, and I was honored to meet his uncle Dick Gregory and sit and talk to him. So for comedians, what we do is we say, "Yo, I got this joke I'm working on, and I want you to tell me what you think." And if they'll be like, "Okay, that's funny, but try it from this perspective." And it's always good to get somebody else's perspective because everybody's what we call it that third eye. Everybody's third eye is a little bit different in how it sees things. And so with jokes, imagery is everything. You have to be able to take people on to they have to come on a journey with you, when you're telling that joke, and you have to create that imagery. And a lot of times we're there having a different, person see, because everything's different when you're on the outside looking in as opposed to the inside looking out. So when you can get both of those together, it kind of meshes together and it works, and then it'll be like, hey, I didn't even think about it that way. And so we're able to rewrite and reformat that joke, and they'll be like, all right, there you go. And so that's our feedback, just to get that different perspective. That's how it works, with the brotherhood of comedians and the sisterhood of comedians.
I love that. That's awesome. I love you said it's like a change in whether you're on the outside looking in or
Yeah,
the inside looking out. That's really
yeah,
nice. And I think
yeah,
that makes sense for feedback too,
yeah.
to
It
kind of
does.
change your angle. That's really
Yeah,
cool. I
you
like
have
that
to
a lot.
see it Yeah, you have to see it differently. I tell people
Yeah.
feedback is presentation and interpretation. The feedback is always going to be, you know, something that someone presented to you, and how you interpret it. A lot of times when they say it, it may not register right away, and you'll have to say, well, what did you mean by that? And then they can be, this is what I meant. And then and that's, so with feedback, that works hand in hand too.
I love that. What I really would like to do, I haven't started it yet, but
Okay.
ultimately I would like to do a blog for all of my interviews
Uh-huh.
because something cool like that usually comes out of one of my interviews and I'm like, "Oh, this is good blog content." And then I'm going to put the link to the interview so they can, play the interview of like, where did she
Okay.
get this tidbit? So I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, okay.
That is amazing. Yeah. Well, let me ask you, just because I feel like this is kind of the elephant in the room. All right, you're so you were a kid in I'm gonna say the 70s, 80s. Is that right?
Yeah, I was born in 72. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you remember then your name is Michael Jackson? Was that awkward for you as a child?
No. And
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
I had uncles who were already Michael Jackson before Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson.
Okay.
So look, so my parents, my grandparents, they're all from the South, Gainesville, Georgia. That is like both sets of my grandparents on both sides of my parents' family, mom and dad. Gainesville, Georgia is like the home front. Michael is like so freaking common down there. Like
Yeah.
if you say Michael, you're gonna get like 20 people who are gonna turn around. And then Jackson is like that is like every black person in the South. It's like everybody's a Jackson. Like, you a Jackson? Like, yeah, I'm a Jackson too. I've met other Jacksons who I don't even know, but they're Jacksons. So it culturally just down south, that's what it was. Now I can see if I had like a real uncommon name, like a Jimmy Earl Jackson. Like, you're not gonna run into many Jimmy Earls. You
Yeah.
know, you will run into Michaels all day every
That's
day,
great.
and the last name Jackson, that is like so common, like in every culture. Like, there is a Jackson in every culture, and there's a Michael in every culture. It may be Miguel, but still, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't well, the thing was, is when Michael Jackson came out, of course, they would be like, Michael Jackson. And they'd be like, did your mom like Michael Jackson? I'm like, no, my mom just loved me. Like, she had uncles who were already Michael Jackson, and she wanted a Michael. That was what she wanted.
Yeah.
She wanted a Michael. And so she got her Michael. It just so happened I was born into the last name Jackson. That's all.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it.
And I'm
That's so
number
great.
9 in the family. There's 10 of us. So,
Wow, 10 Michael
yeah.
Jackson. Oh my gosh, that's
Yep.
awesome.
Some have deceased, some are still living, but yeah, like we were Michael before Michael was Michael.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really common name. I mean, he
Yeah.
could have, he could have done something a little less common, I guess,
Right.
huh?
God forbid his name was Jimmy Earl, so everybody be like Jimmy Earl. And now Jimmy Earl Jackson would have been the king of pop instead of Michael. So
Right.
it,
That's
it
great.
rolled the dice. It could have been anything.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I thought would be really funny to talk about, because this happens to me and I really should write it down, because sometimes there is something so funny that days later
Yeah.
I am still laughing so hard.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would love to figure this out. Love to do the research, and be like, okay, this is like when you get this situation that something is so funny that you
Yeah.
can't stop laughing, or like that the milk comes out of your nose, or
Yeah. Yeah.
like like, remember in school when somebody says something and it's so funny and then your teacher comes over like, go get a drink. Like,
Yeah.
stop
Because
laughing.
yeah,
Go get a drink.
yeah,
And I mean, I wonder, about, have you had those moments as a comedian where something was just so funny that it just ended up being so funny.
oh
So I
yeah.
thought that would be a fun thing to talk about, was just those moments. There was, so a couple days ago in the car,
Hmm.
my husband, I don't know, like, we were talking about school or something, and he starts talking about like second or third grade when his teacher said to him, "Hey, you get 5 minutes and you get to play Oregon Trail." And no kidding, it was like my husband went back to that moment and he was like, "Yes." And I thought, wow,
Right.
such a huge thing for him
Yeah.
that many years ago, that this much, I mean, he got excited like he was like 8 years
Still
old, like,
stoked about it. Yeah. Yeah. Still stoked about it.
oh, it was hilarious. And then I was like, I gotta tell Michael about this one. I have to tell him because this is
Okay.
hilarious.
Okay.
So, stuff like that I'm just like, man, this is like great stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead. I'll let you share some stuff.
I mean, it's honestly, it's so much. Marriage. I mean, sometimes you just laugh at each other. Everybody asks my wife if I'm the same way at home, and she was like, believe it or not, no. I like sitting watching Netflix and chilling or everything like that. But
Yeah.
my wife has more stories of me that she will never like. We've been together 28 years. She will never ever let me live it down, and she laughs till she's crying again when she tells the story. So the story is, we were living in this house, and I hope your listeners aren't sensitive, but
Good.
okay, all right. So we were living in this house, and I slept I slept because it's just comfortable for me. I enjoyed it. I love it. Clothes are just a hindrance and a restriction. Okay. So she had woke me up because, and this was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. She had woke me up and shook me, and she had told me that she smelled smoke in the house. Now, from the time that I heard her to when my brain computed it, my brain said she heard someone in the house. So I grabbed my gun out the closet, half asleep, butt naked, walking down, trying to trying to creep down these stairs that were all wood, that were not quiet at all. And she was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I thought you said you heard somebody in the house." And she was like, "No," I said, "I think I smell smoke." And I was like, "Well, that's not what I heard." And I started waving the gun, and I went back to sleep, and I went back to the bed and went to sleep. And every time she tells that story, she starts laughing because the way she tells it, she sees the imagery. Mind you, I'm half asleep. I'm out of it. All I know
Yeah,
is I thought she heard. Yeah, that's what my brain heard. I didn't hear nothing about no smoke, but my wife has more stories of that when it comes to me than I have of anything. But that's
that's
just
awesome.
one of the stories. So
I love that. I love that. And marriage is really funny, but
yes, yes it is. Yes it
you
is.
know, it's also really interesting because it's a great opportunity to get feedback.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I know that I have learned a lot as, in this relationship with my husband.
Mm,
I'm like almost a different person
yeah.
from the very beginning. Yeah. And one thing that I did, no, so going back to the whole sleeping nude thing, I just think it's funny that some people wear underwear all the time. All the time. I
I
mean,
can't
it's
stand
not like somebody told them, like, oh, I have to wear underwear all the time. Like, no, you don't. Just,
there
you don't have to do that. It's such a
there
weird thing when I hear people, talk about it, and I'm like, hey, did anybody tell you you don't have to wear underwear?
there
You don't have to.
there's a testicle fairy men are afraid of. You're gonna wake up and you're gonna be gone if you don't
Oh,
have.
yeah. Yeah. That's a really good one. And then, it's really funny too that I did one night. I switched sides of the bed.
Oh, I know that threw him off.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, some people have to have a side.
Yeah. We
Now my
always
wife is
did.
the same way. My wife, yeah,
Yeah.
she has a side, and I better not go and deviate over on her side. If I put my arm on that side, she, get your arm off my side. She's like, really?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did it one day. I was like, "Hey, we're switching sides." And what I didn't do was move all of our stuff that we had, like
Okay. Yes.
on the nightstand. I just was like, "Hey, tonight I'm sleeping on your side. You're sleeping on my side." And in the middle of the night, I just hear this funny noise. It's like he's like pushing all the stuff off of the nightstand.
Yeah.
I hear all this stuff just like fall off the nightstand. I thought he was doing it like moving in, like, okay, fine. There goes all my stuff off the nightstand. I
Oh.
started laughing so hard in my sleep.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard. And it ended up he didn't even mean to do it. He was just awkward because he was on the wrong side and
He was on
he
the wrong.
thought
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
thought there
No.
wasn't gonna be anything over there and it was all my stuff on the nightstand.
Yeah. Yeah. No. When people have a side, you can't know. You cannot take them from their side. They
Yeah, it was so
have
great.
a whole dream. They would have a whole meltdown in their dreams. That's literally
Right.
Yeah, that is a real thing.
I love that though, of just the idea of how very simple things you can do to get people out of their comfort zone.
He probably stood there and looked at you for like 30 seconds. It was probably flatline, like he didn't know how to
Yeah.
process it.
Oh yeah, it was
Oh my
hilarious.
goodness. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
funny.
funny.
That is a true thing. Oh, what about the toilet paper though? Toilet
What is
paper. They
flipping
yeah,
it? Is that what?
some people like it under, they don't like it over. Like it's toilet paper. Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't even
I
switch the
have heard
toilet
that.
paper roll.
Really, really recently I've heard that's a thing and I was like, I don't
Yeah.
understand.
No,
I'm fine either way. I'm good.
it's a real thing.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
really
real
great.
thing. Yeah. So I will tell you, being married, you learn certain people have certain things that they just like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
I want it this way. And I was like, toilet paper? Really? Okay.
Yeah, that is great. Yeah, it is definitely been a journey for sure. And now 28 years, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. And now you said you'll be 10 years is your anniversary for.
Next year doing comedy. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being on. It was so much fun and I would absolutely love to do another one sometime. So,
It would be
it's fun to
my
come
honor.
back around. Yeah, it's really fun.
It's been an honor just even meeting you, years ago with Dr. Davis and working with you, the projects up at UC and working with stars. Like, no, you
Yeah.
are a sister for life. So
Oh,
you
thank
need
you.
anything from me, we will be there. We
Yeah.
got
And I'm so excited to learn about the house. It's called Laugh Zone, House of Comedy.
you. Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna be there. I'm excited. Yeah. I've actually
And we'll
done.
make sure we give you the VIP treatment.
Okay, deals. Yeah. I've done at least, well, I've done two, like, I did one open mic night at the Funny Bone. So
Okay.
you
Okay.
never know.
Yeah.
I might
Well,
just get a wild hair and be like, yeah, let's go do this.
hey, I got plenty of stages now.
Awesome. Okay.
I've earned some different stages, so now I can get you on the stage. So you
Yay,
let
that's
me
great.
know when you're ready.
Okay. And actually my son, I think I told you that we go back and forth and we share
Yes.
stories and
Yep. Yep.
he's getting to be really funny. I'm like, I really need to coax him because he's really kind of practicing and making changes and yeah, so I mean, the other day he said something and I was just like, I am seriously literally laughing at that. That's really funny. So, yeah.
We love to have them come to our open mic, and the thing is we all it's all a lot of fun, and we know some jokes may not work, some jokes may work, but that's the good thing about it. When you just come and you be you, do you. Nobody's gonna boo you or throw anything. If it's not funny, they'll just be like, hmm. And then if it's funny, then they laugh. That's all you're gonna get out of us. We're not that type of group of people.
That's the feedback, right?
That is the feedback. Yeah. Yeah. No laughter is definitely a
That's right.
feedback.
It's so great. I was gonna say something else about that. I can't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, did you see the marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
I did watch a little bit of it. I have yet to finish it, but what I saw, I remember you asked me and I said yes. I said I love what I saw.
Yeah,
I gotta finish it.
it was so good. I mean,
It
even in
is.
the very beginning, seeing her on the stage and not doing great, kind of like you were saying, was
Yeah. But you
just
just keep
kind of
going.
feeling it out, yeah, and just keep going. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was she did so great. I loved it. I thought it was
Yeah.
so great. It was based on Joan Rivers.
You know what? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know that.
And it they did a great job with it too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I
It
didn't know
makes
that. I
it
just
more
started watching.
interesting to watch it for sure.
Okay.
That
Okay.
it was based on Joan Rivers, which is so cool.
She was and is amazing. Like
Yeah.
different. The way she saw things. It was
Yeah.
yeah. I like Joan Rivers. Yes, yes, yes. Her comedy definitely tongue in cheek and will have you slapping your knee.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, they did a great job with this
yeah,
whole.
yeah.
I just it was really cool. So yeah, I'm glad we watched it for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Michael. I am going to give you a no like trust report. So
Okay.
basically, no like trust, and it's
Yeah.
really kind of funny. It might end up being a roast for you, which would be kind of
Okay.
fun.
Okay.
But it's basically just a way to ask people, do you know me? Do you like me? Do you trust me?
Yeah.
And it gives you back a score. And then people can put on their comments too. They can put like their actual comments, kind of underneath just like a field that just lets them write their comments in. And
I
let me
love
tell you, I've gotten some really cool comments back that like made the little hairs stand up on my arm. Just stuff that people don't tell you all the
it.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the stuff that they're like, hey, you know what? I've never told you this in person, but I love you because blank, whatever it is. So
That's
it ends
awesome.
up being really, really great. Yeah. So I will send you your survey if you'd like to use that. And thank you so much. And I will definitely we'll do this again soon. And I can't wait to check out the house that what is it called
The
again?
laugh zone. The
The
laugh
laugh,
zone.
the
Yep.
House of Comedy.
I'm the house host. I'm there.
Yay!
I own
All
everything
right.
there. So yeah. So thank you for having me, Miss Teresa. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.